All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And another episode of TnT Knows It All Sports. Joe's Ty
What's
and my man over there. What's up, my mans?
what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, good, brother. We're glad to
Yeah,
have it. Had a very interesting week of football and really ready to get out of that and get ready for this week. So, got a
yeah,
jam-packed agenda. We're going to talk about, do a quick review of what happened in the wild card weekend. Then we're gonna do a preview of the division games, give a little head coach update in the NFL, some rumors that we've heard, and any signings that have occurred, which is really just one. And then we're gonna do a five minute NBA update. So a lot of great things been happening in the NBA, and we both want to talk about it. So all right, let's get into it. So let's start with this wild card round. Um
good.
so the teams that won were the Texans, the um Eagles, the Commanders, and the Bills. Those were the four teams that um won their wild card round. And also we including the Ravens, whoever won, even I feel like it shouldn't even have been a wild card round. I was like a
Right,
bye.
right.
And who's the other team? The Rams.
Rams, yeah.
Yes, the Rams. So I'll let you go first. I mean, you got anything you wanted to mention specifically about what you witnessed this weekend?
Nah, I mean, if, my picks, betting wise, you use those prize picks of picking teams and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, it pretty much was spot on.
Hmm.
We all were fooled the Steelers might have a chance. They didn't even look like they want to play football out there.
No,
That
defense
was
is bad.
disappointing. That was bad.
Yeah.
And then the only game I would say the two. Well, it's funny that everyone thought that all week they're like, oh, the upset is going to be the Broncos versus the Bills, and the Bills mollywopped them. That was great. I don't know. I mean, Denver is great, but a rookie quarterback on the road in the code in Buffalo, no chance. But hey, Jaden did it, so it didn't
Yeah.
matter because the Buccaneers are first of all the NFC South is frauds. I just every year, not every year, but it seems like the last what 20 years, 15 years, they
Yeah.
always have a team that's like limps in because of divisional winners, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, like the Saints won in one year, or Saints were in what 8 and 9. So whatever. Anyways, the NFC South is a joke, but that was a great game. Jaden played well.
It was. It was weird though. It was a little Riverboat Ron-ish, a lot of stuff going on. I was like, how many fourth downs are we gonna go? Because I was worried. I mean, of course I'm not a Commanders fan, but I kind of want. I can't lie. I do like watching Jaden Daniels, so I was kind of rooting for him. Okay, stop. Yeah, yes, the Cowboys fans was actually rooting for the Commanders to kind of win. I wasn't saying rooting, but I just say
Right.
this: I would have been upset. I'm not upset they won, but man, all those fourth downs they went for.
The enter Dan Campbell, bro.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here? I was like, if they lose this game because they, passed up on literally 9 points. Um,
Right.
that's you're gonna go back and kick yourself, especially for that time. But
I mean, they always say underdog got to be a little aggressive. I mean,
yeah,
the two games that surprised me, not really one of them, but the two games was, my God, the Chargers didn't show up. I
that
thought, I
was a
mean,
shock.
that
Yeah.
that Herbert had more interception in that game than he did all season. I mean, that's now a couple of them weren't his fault, but still,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? It just Derek Stingley, by the way, I
Yeah,
don't know. Did we talk? Oh, I talked about this last year. I got to find the
yeah,
tape. But I told everybody he's better than Sauce Gardner. They're
yeah,
like, well, why did they pick Derek Stingley number three? They should have picked Sauce. No, I was like, I watched
yeah,
Derek at LSU, but he just got hurt. That's the
yeah,
problem. If he stay healthy, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL
yeah,
or in college. It would be in the NFL.
yeah.
So then the game Pumpkin came out, Sam Darnold. So I'm not. I
Uh,
mean, I had a feeling the Rams were going to win. I get it. We were talking earlier about
yeah,
how to fire and everything, but Sam Darnold showed up. I knew he was going to show up. He showed up in Detroit, but he's going to show up again.
yeah,
And then the scene of them like watering him down and putting on his shoulders like they won a damn Super Bowl, when they brought Sam down in the locker room.
yeah. The
I'm
the
like,
Green
what,
the Green
what,
Bay
what?
game.
Yeah, the
it was
good.
a big game. I mean,
Come on,
if
man.
you think about it, it's a weird, NFL's weird now because if you think about it, that was week 16, so they were 14-2. So technically, like, I mean, that's you can't that's a huge enough body sample to say that you're good. Who would have known that the next week would have happened? And it didn't matter if they won or lost, it's just how they played. And then, like you said, this week was bad. I definitely blame Sam, but I really blame Kevin O'Connell. That was terrible, terrible coaching. And he would admit it. Like the play calls that they were doing. I was like, did you not go back and reevaluate? And this is what I think sometimes coaches mess up. If you put something on film that was that bad last week, you don't think it's a copycat league
Right.
where
Well,
the Rams don't ever blitz. They don't. But they were like, Detroit clearly locked these guys down, so we'll do the same thing. And they did. They did the exact same thing Detroit did, and they got nine
but
sacks. Nine.
I know, but also Sam Darnold held on to the ball too long.
He
I get
did.
it. I mean, you could have just changed the play calls, but
Right.
I mean,
But you hold on to the ball because you don't also have you have to have quick plays so that
right.
he doesn't have to hold on to the ball.
I
If you
mean,
were looking at those routes, there was a lot of deep crossers, like deep outs.
right.
What are you doing? No, it
Yeah. I
needs to
mean,
be like one read, ball comes out hot, find the hot, those type of things to get him in rhythm and run the ball. Because I mean, it's
well,
not
I
like
mean,
they ran okay, but
we don't know if he was calling those plays because I mean I get it. I was watching the game, and
it
there were
was
a couple times that he just wasn't even giving it to his check down.
yes,
I don't
I
know if
did see that. I did see that too.
so he just got nervous. He saw ghosts again.
Yep.
Like you had a chance to make B. Like I still think he. We'll talk about that later on
Mhm.
in different episode. I still think they'll franchise tag him anyways. Just my opinion, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But he could have been. But anyways, that game. I mean, Kevin O'Connell's probably going to win Coach of the Year, but oof, he laid an egg on
It was
that.
bad.
That
It was
that was
bad.
bad.
It was bad. And
And
and even the announcers were saying that they're like, "Hey, man, these some of these plays. I mean, because I mean, Troikman
yeah,
said it's like I don't understand why they're making these calls right now. Like, run the
yeah,
ball or throw quick. They had thrown like bubble screen. I mean, they could have done anything
but
to
it but
get
it
the ball on. They
but
just
they're
didn't
not
do
a
it.
screen team. They didn't use T.J. Hawkinson. I
Mm,
don't. It's just
hmm
the issue is that the Rams came out hungry, and
hmm
I think the last week deflated them because they lost. They didn't lose. They got beat bad.
Right. And
I
it's
mean,
weird if you think about it, the weird thing about that game, and we can move forward, is the Vikings lost 4 games this year to only 2 teams. That's the only two
they're,
teams they lost to. Lions
yeah, they're,
twice,
they're
Rams twice.
and
So it's just happened to be what it is. And shout out to my cousin. He predicted it a week ago. He said, "It's my team. I guarantee you they lose." And they look bad. And I was like, "Wow, really?" He's like, "Yep, guarantee it." He's like, "You got it on text message. The Vikings will lose." I was like, "Shoot, I should have put a ticket to the bank because he was
oh, Chris,
completely
yeah.
right." Yeah, yeah, completely right. All right, and then yeah, I mean the other games, whatever. They were. We could talk.
Um,
I'll talk more. I would rather talk about how I feel about those teams when we do the preview
yeah, me
on
too.
the other one. All right, so with that being said, with those games and winners, then we have the preview of the divisional rounds, which I think are really good games. I don't think they're any matchup where I was like, I would rather not see that. I'm intrigued by all of them. I'm not sure that they're all going to be close games, but I do think there will be good games to watch.
All right.
So we're going to start in order of the games. The game starts Saturday at 4:30, by the way, just in case you
Eastern
are
time, yeah.
wondering. Yep, Eastern time. And that game is the Houston Texans are at the Chiefs. So,
Oh,
yeah. So I
yeah.
I I'll start there. Um, so it's a weird game. Like I actually, I don't know if people they just played like 4 weeks ago. So it's not like, it's that far out of, the memory. I think the Texans actually played well defensively for the most part. Um,
Right.
CJ Stroud was playing okay. That's the game Tank Dell got hurt for the year. And when he was in there, they were moving the ball. And then once he came out, like that deflated them for a good period of time because I think they had a certain game plan and they didn't, it's kind of tough when you have your speed guy out there, where and they were taking advantage of him. And then he was out of the game. I think was watching a show and they had a stat that was very telling. Um, while I actually think the Texans defense is going to play well, and I think the Chiefs are not going to score a ton of points, the issue to me is going to be the Texans offense. I don't know how they're going to score. Like a stat that I heard was that they in the last what 7 weeks or no 12 weeks, sorry, 12 weeks. The last 12 weeks. That's a lot of games. They've scored two touchdowns one time in one game out of the last
They scored what?
12.
Yeah, no, I remember the
Two
stat. Was that you
two
saw
touch.
that
Yeah.
first take? First take was that the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
take?
it was that wasn't first take. But
Oh, first thing first, right? Or whatever.
nah, I think it was the facility actually.
Okay.
But I was like, wow, that's bad. And you're already playing to me, who I think is the best defense in the league. I know everyone loves Philly, but I think that Kansas City actually is the best defense in the league. They've shown it basically all year because your offense has not scored 30 points in a game, period.
Over Denver? I think Denver is the best defense, but it's just
No.
me.
Kansas
So,
City has not scored over 30 points in any game, and they were 15-2.
true, but
That
but
tells you, like, I mean, that basically that means your offense is not like they're not putting on these long drives, they're not putting a bunch of points, so they're not even putting up points so that you can tee off. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like, I got this big lead, so now I got my front line, being able to know that you're going to be, just basically passing. So
right.
I think the Texans are not going to win, but I do think it's going to be close. I think the spread's like 8.5 or something.
Eight now, eight. It went down
Eight
to
now,
eight.
right? And,
Right.
and to me, that makes sense. I think the Texans lose. I think it's like 23-17 or something like that. Because I don't, and I don't even know 7-16 because
Yeah.
I think they might not be able to score. I mean, it's going to be Nico Collins. You better run the ball with Mixon. That's really their best chance. And then who else do you really have? They really have nobody else on the offensive end that Kansas
Yeah.
City would be scared about. So I'll
I
pass it
mean,
up to you.
but that's the same game Tank Dale got hurt, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that took the air out of the game, honestly.
Yeah.
CJ, to me, it's very simple. The game is CJ Stroud. I mean, that's going to be because he not only does the scoring you talked about, but for some reason he's making dumb like turnovers. Like you're like, why did you throw that ball, interception to force the ball and everything? And it's because I told people last year said, see, I've been telling people about CJ Stroud for a while. I said I like CJ Stroud, but let's pump the brakes, and he's top five quarterback in the NFL. Pump the brakes.
Hmm.
The reason why he was good last year is because even what's his name? Noah Brown was getting deep balls. He used to throw a beautiful deep ball, and people were just like letting them get deep. I don't know why.
Hmm.
So the key is going to be CJ. You know your line is trash. Like you know what I'm saying? Your line is not that good. Are you going to Bobby Slowick? Are you going to get plays out there, get it to mix and everything? That's the key. And then the what's his name? The linebacker wasn't playing either. Al Jazeera
I
or
was just there,
so he's not.
yeah.
He didn't play, so I think that helps. But I'm not worried about the Texas defense. I'm sorry, yeah, Texas defense is
Mm-mm.
CJ. If CJ can
Yeah.
actually play a good game, that's the key to the game. It's very simple. People say I was watching we were watching for we watch all the sports news
Hmm.
media. They're making it more complicated. It's CJ Stroud. That's the bottom line. To me, it's very simple. Come out, you play like you if you don't become Sam Darnold, and then we'll see what it is. It's funny how CJ and Bobby Slowick were like the hottest thing. Now nobody's even interviewing Bobby Slowick,
Hmm.
offense coordinator for Texans. So very
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah,
And
I think that's
I, I
fair.
think it's going to sound weird, but whoever wins, I think is going to win by a big margin. See, this is
Hmm.
what's crazy. The Chiefs haven't played with a full roster in 4 weeks, right? They've been subbing. So I don't care what people say. Oh, they rested. You know how sports are. You haven't played in live action with everybody, right? And then they're getting Joshua Williams. They're happy about coming back from IR and everything. So if I don't know. We'll see. Is it going to be rusty in the beginning? I think it
Hmm.
is. So are they going to take advantage of that? That's where TJ comes out. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think whoever wins is going to win big. That's just my
Interesting.
prediction.
Interesting. Yeah, I think it'll be close. But I think I actually thought the same thing as you in terms of the slow start. I thought slow start for Chiefs, Texans might be up, but because I don't think they can score the way that they need to score, they won't be up enough. And then the Chiefs will come back
Yeah.
and beat them like again. I could see that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see top five CJ come out. Come on, we gotta see it.
Yeah, 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 for sure. All right, well, game two is at 8 o'clock, and it is the Commanders are visiting the Detroit Lions. So I'll let you go ahead and
Well,
start on
I,
that one. I think they're
I mean,
they're a 9.5 point underdog.
yeah, I think the Commanders might get beat by 20. So I mean, I think Detroit's on a mission, um, and it's hard to play in that stadium. David Montgomery's there, but they're deep. Like I watched you watched the Commanders last week. To your point, I think they kind of showed they over peaked. You know what I mean? Like when you're gonna hit that wall, Jaden Daniels, and you're not gonna be running around like that in Detroit. Like he was just running free. You know, like if you
Hmm.
watched the game, I just feel like he was just running around holding the ball a little bit like that. I think that the Lions are going to me, they have the best safety pair in the NFL. I mean, Kirby Joseph and Branch are nasty. So,
Hmm.
they'll help out with Terry McCullen. And then Brown, I mean, Brown looked
I know.
like AJ Brown last week, bro. Like, I'm
I was
like
like
the
De'Ami
deep
Brown. I was like, let me
Brown.
gotta look this guy up again.
I
Yeah.
don't even know he was still in the league.
Right.
So I think they're going to win. Detroit's going to run the ball, which the Buccaneers kept the running the ball with Bucky.
Irving. Yeah.
Oh my God, Bucky Irving. I can't think of. We picked him by the way in our. We have a Survivor League. We picked Bucky Irving. If they were to run the ball a little bit more, but they want to put the ball in the Baker's hand, then they do well. But also, um, the one thing that Washington is not really great at statistically is the tight ends. So Sam Laporta should actually do well. So tight ends can take advantage of him. Like Bobby
Mm.
Wagner is still good, but he's 36 years old, bro.
Yeah.
Like I mean, or 35, whatever how old he is. Like
Mm.
so, if they get the, but I think they're gonna win by 20. Sorry, BJ. I know you're a Commander fan, but I don't think it's gonna be close.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely don't think the Lions are gonna have to worry about losing. But I do think it's gonna be a weird game. I could see 20, but I they're gonna score th over 35 points. That's kind of the way I see
The
it. The Lions. And
Lions,
it's
yeah,
I their offense is already ridiculous. The Commanders' defense is decent, but they get they basically get, they don't get exposed because their offense is so efficient. So their offense helps them in like the last game. That's really what happened. The Buccaneers didn't have the ball much that
right.
game. That's why they didn't score. But
Mm,
Baker Mayfield incompleted three passes. It's not like he, he's 15 for 18. He just didn't get a chance to throw the ball. They ran effectively, but they didn't have the ball a lot. So
right.
I think that's not going to be the case with the Lions. The Lions are going to, it's Dan Campbell. He's going to be like, forget it. You either you either going to score a touchdown quickly or whatever on us, or we're going to sack you for a loss. We're sending everybody. We're going man. There's going to be
Yeah,
bombs that might be completed. If they don't complete some, that means they're going to be three and out, three and outs. And then it's back on playing defense with the Lions. So I see it like 37-20, um, something like
yeah. That's
that.
20 points. Yeah, 20 point, almost 20
Yo, they're gonna,
points.
yeah, the Commanders are gonna score 20 points. The Lions defense is good, but the Commanders, even though their defense isn't great, I think the Lions defense is still not amazing. And I
Yeah,
do think um the Commanders can score. They will score. It's just not, I don't think they can score enough. That's really
yeah.
the issue.
And,
They need De'Ami Brown to be AJ Brown again, like seriously, because he's gonna have to be like the guy that him, Zach Ertz, um, and I do think it was weird. I do think the Commanders, the way they ran the ball, you can't run on Tampa. That's the one
no,
thing. Can't run on Tampa. You can
right.
actually run on Detroit. Not amazingly, but you can. Like they're not as good a run stopping team as the Bucks are. I think the Bucks are like
Yeah,
one of the toughest teams. So the Commanders going to have to run the ball. That means Brian Robinson and Eckler got to be efficient.
right.
I think they can to an extent, but that still doesn't mean again. I
Yeah,
still
yeah, I think they hit the wall, honestly. But yeah, we'll see.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, they
They're
were.
yeah. They're Cinderella. They got
Yeah,
a glass slipper. But the thing is their offense is better than people realize.
Oh
I
yeah, I
think
agree.
we
I
can't.
mean,
I will not disrespect them on that. Like,
no, no, no.
yeah.
That I wouldn't. I would. That's why I said, 20 points. It might be 18 to
Mhm,
30 or 38,
mhm.
whatever.
I
But
didn't realize they were like was it fourth highest scoring team in the league, or third, fourth, fifth, fourth?
yeah,
The
I mean
Commanders. I was like, it's pretty good.
that's why we said Jaden Adams the best quarterback in that draft. But that's
Yeah.
another topic. I mean, I don't.
But that was good. That's gonna be a good game. I'm actually looking forward. That's one of the games I'm actually looking forward to because there's gonna be fireworks. I think there's like the Texans Chiefs game is gonna be not fun because this is gonna be defensive just battle. It's not gonna be
Yeah,
great plays to me. Um, I don't think the next game we're talking about, which is Philly Rams, I think it's also gonna be
it's gonna be
grimy.
cold too.
Yeah, it's
Shoot.
cold. I don't see a like shootout going on there. Both defenses are playing at a high level right now. I mean, the Rams since that Bills game have been like top three defenses in the NFL. Um,
Mhm.
uh, this is a tough one for me.
The the what the Eagles?
Yeah, this Eagles
Man,
Rams game. For one, of course, I don't like the Eagles. But that 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 Green Bay game's kind of the way I thought it would go a little bit. I mean. I didn't think Green Bay would win, which they did not, but I did think it would be competitive. I mean, it was 16 to 10. Like it was there. It's just Love couldn't make plays. But I
yeah,
also think Green Bay's defense in their scheme makes that a little different. Their front four, they're not heavy, but they play heavy. Like it's hard to just control the line of scrimmage against them.
right,
Whereas the Rams front four, they're speed based. I mean, that's kind of their thing. They don't have that girth. And so Saquon ran for 255 yards against them last game. I don't think he's going to do that this game, but I also think he will still run all over them.
right,
So it's a tough one because if for some reason it's a copycat league, if the Rams can do what they did last week, which is copy how the team the week before played the team they're playing and do like cover three and have those people in the box and force, Hurts to throw the ball,
right.
the Rams will win this game, actually. They will actually win. I think they would win the
That,
game in a close game. But I'm not sure if in the 6 days, right? Because they had 8 days to prepare for that one. In the 6 days, you can put in a scheme that you don't normally do.
all right,
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the weird thing. I think the Eagles win. It's gonna be close, like
right,
20 to 16 or something like that. Like
all right.
2017 could be overtime. I would be surprised if it was 23-20 in overtime or something like that. But I think it's going to be a close game. That's a tough one. But go ahead.
It is. Before I start, again, Ty and I talk to this all the time. I can't stand these NFL scouts. I really
Hmm.
can't. How did Jared Verse drop to the 18?
I
I
know.
mean, he was a top 10 pick.
Right.
Before all whatever Cooper DeJean, I mean, second round, stole him, and then Kenyon Mitchell was picked in like the late. This
Yeah.
is just this is why the Eagles just are so good because they just are
Hmm.
smart. Is like, okay, let me just pick the best player available on the board and just pick them. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or just
Right.
trade up for a Cooper DeJean. But it just this is why they're good. But I just
Yes,
that's
I know.
one thing I can't stand these guys. And Brock Bowers, that's a different
Yeah.
topic. Just these are just why they don't pick these players because Jared Verse to me has been looking like a man on fire, right?
Yeah.
So and then Fisk too, he's been looking good,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So
I
so
hate
those
Florida. We hate Florida State. And
right,
I had to
right,
watch them play. I was like, this defense is one of the best defenses I've seen in college in a while. If
yeah,
Travis doesn't get hurt, that's why that whole
and
controversy. Those two guys destroyed everybody the entire year. Every
yeah.
single team they played.
And choir boy Kobe Turner, he's a choir. That's
Hmm.
why he does that dance. He's looking good. So there's
Yeah.
so the key to me is going to be the Rams defense against their offense, of course, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the weather, Stafford. People forget Stafford knows how to play in the cold. I mean, he played. Green Bay. He played in Chicago. So to him, he preferred to be in a dome, a nice area, but he could play.
Mm,
Cooper. So I'm not necessarily worried, but if they could stop, if they could stop the run, because their run defense has been hit or miss, right? They did it. They you said their defense has been good, but they played San Fran in that rain game.
mm-hmm.
Then they played
Mm-hmm.
the Jets, and then they played the
Right.
Cardinals, and then they played the last
The
game. They played the
the Seahawks, right?
Seahawks,
Yeah.
but that don't count because 30-25 they lost. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but they did show Minnesota, right? Minnesota is
Yeah.
this potent offense, so they
Yeah.
did show, right? So their defense does show. If they got to stop the run, right?
Yeah.
And so a little insight. AJ Brown reading books on the sideline means he's going to get the ball a lot. So I'm going to
Yeah.
pick him in my league because I think he's going to get the ball targeted a lot. Now,
Yeah.
is that going to be a good thing? I don't know
I
because they're
don't
going to be
know.
trying to target him.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Sirianni does. Is that that's a problem with them? They got a lot of drama. The vibes, as Kevin Wild said, the vibes ain't really good there. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to run the ball and win the game,
Yeah.
or do I force it to AJ Brown and then tell critics that Jalen Hurts? By the way, we've been selling Jalen Hurts is not a good passing quarterback for how long, Ty? To all our friends out there,
Yeah.
we've been saying it for years. But
Yeah.
are you forcing them?
Yeah, I like Jalen
Me, I
Hurts,
mean, me
but
too.
he is what
But
he
they
is.
they got to run the ball. They got to run the ball. Keep Rams offense off the field. Even though it's going to be interesting to see because everyone's like, well, what about the Phillies defense? They're the best. Yeah, Philly's great, but I don't
They're
think they've
not on
seen
the
the
field.
offense.
Yeah.
Then I don't think they've seen the
Right.
offense like the Rams.
Because and that's so great you bring up that point. So, I mean, I've actually watched, I love NFL Network. I mean, it always, especially when they're doing this, I forgot to mention this. Besides the Commanders game, this is a rematch all these are rematches of games that happened this season.
Yeah.
So they showed the Philly
Oh,
Rams
getting
game.
blown out. Yeah.
Well, Philly blew them out, but again, you got to watch the game, right? You see,
Yeah.
just like the Bills game, and we'll talk about that in a second. When you actually watch the game, what you will see is that the Rams went up and down the field on the first two drives like the Eagles had no defense whatsoever. It was
Right.
ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
first drive they went like 80 yards and then fumbled at the goal
Yeah.
line, and then the next drive, 80 yards again, touchdown. Like
Right.
just like this. And it was easy for them. I'm not saying they're going to do it for the whole game. But to your point, they are very difficult. When they start
Right.
rolling, I mean, we saw the Bills game. I mean, they start rolling, not much you can
That,
do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, you're going to see the top five duo wide receivers in the league.
oh yeah,
They're going
yeah,
to play,
yeah.
and then Kyron Williams. But also, if you watch that game, because I actually watched the game. It's funny. I watched it in when I was in Vegas waiting for Nate. We're supposed to go to a restaurant, so I watched the end of the game, and I just seen like at the end the Rams just let Saquon run. Like, oh, okay, we just so
Yeah.
even though he had 255 yards, it felt like his stats were a little skewed.
Yeah,
Uh,
he had two big runs.
yeah,
It,
but
it's
but it,
it's my it's my Barry Sanders thing, right?
right,
He had
right.
two carries for 170 yards and then 23 carries for 80 yards. Not saying
Right,
that he's did bad, but and those yards count. But it's
right,
not like he's getting 6 yards a pop.
right.
That game. So if
Yeah,
they just avoid, keep their gap coverage on those two, I mean, they'd be all right. So,
yeah. Make you gotta say, like I said, you gotta. They play 3-4. They're gonna just
hmm
load the box up and make them. They're down. This is where Jalen hurt. Hey, Norm. This is for Norm. I'm gonna give you a shout out. I've been telling you about Jalen Hurts. This is the game. If they load the box up, and I forgot the Wilkinson's whatever the guy is hurt. The cornerback is
Mm,
hurt, so they're gonna have two cornerbacks that are suspect out there. Right, their
mm,
safeties are decent. Their safeties are okay, and
mm.
Lake and everybody else, but and Cam Kitchens for the U, but
You.
yeah, their cornerbacks are not that great. So if they load the box and Jalen can't get busy with AJ and Devontae Smith out there, I don't want to hear a damn word about Jalen Hurts anymore. I don't want to hear it. I don't. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's your chance.
yeah,
Now I don't want to hear excuses. He still got hollow brain from the concussions. I don't want to hear about all that because Sirianni tried to defend him
yeah.
like, oh, he's still going or recovering. Come on now. Anyways,
My thing, the Eagles are so weird. Like they need to stop like talking about like who cares how you look? Win the game. Like
right.
I don't care. I don't care if
That's why.
Jalen Hurts. Like, look, the bottom line is Jalen Hurts throws for 100 yards and they win because Saquon ran for 130 or 160 yards. Who cares? They won.
That's why
Win the
KC.
freaking game. Yeah.
That's why KC's great. They don't care
Yes.
if they win.
Yeah, yeah. Pat Mahomes doesn't care.
They're-
You look at his stats. That's why he's like the greatest. He throws for 197 yards, but they win the game because he understands what needs to do. Oh, this my defense is playing well. Don't turn the ball over. Let's try to sustain drives, even if it ends up being a field goal or a punt that puts them back further. These are all game management type things
Yeah,
that occur. So let's play football. Like who cares, you
but,
know?
but
So yeah. So who do you have winning? By the way, I didn't even ask you
oh, I mean, it's gonna be Philly.
that.
At home in the cold.
Yeah.
But my Super Bowl pick is Ravens Philly. So
Right, right.
I
So,
mean, which we'll talk about next game. Because
yeah.
as a Bills fan, you're like, hold on, you picked the Ravens Philly, but we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I think
But,
I think Philly's gonna the spread of 6.5 has gone up for this Philly Rams game. I am very tempted to take the Rams with the plus 6.5. Not that again, I don't think they're gonna
yeah,
win, but I do think it's gonna be closer. Even if it's 23-17,
but
still a win. All right. And so last but not least, the game of the century, those guys are calling it. I mean, the media is really hyping this up.
because you know why they lost ratings last week. You know that they had one of the
Yeah.
worst ratings, but
Yeah, because yeah, I mean, I understand the NFL trying to put these 7 seeds in there, but come
yeah,
on,
you gotta
man.
get
Like,
rid of it, bro.
just give it a 7 seeds. Just give the first two teams buys again. But you know they're going to do the opposite. They're going to add an eighth team. You know that. You
Right,
know it's
right,
coming. They're going to be
right.
like, all right, well, we want to give people, everyone should get the same. They'll do something stupid because NFL does stupid stuff. But anyway, this is definitely the best game that I can recall. Actually, no, that's not true. To me, this is the best game in this round since last year.
Yeah,
I think the Bills Chiefs game, I said it last year. I was like, whoever wins this is probably going to win not only the AFC, but probably the Super Bowl because I thought how good those teams were. I think it's similar here. I'm not sure about Super Bowl because I think
yeah,
Lions and Eagles are just as good as anybody in the league if they're playing their best. But I do think the winner of this Bills Ravens game has a really good chance to go into Kansas City and win. I think
but
you become hardened, battle tested, things of that nature. So yeah, I'll let you it's your team, so I'll let
yeah.
you go in and just give your insight on this
Yeah,
battle.
there are so many different angles and so much data I could throw, but the one thing, so as in the beginning, I said the Ravens probably like week 17 or 16, oh,
Hmm.
16 probably. I said the Ravens Eagles were going to go Super Bowl just because before we start, Buffalo wasn't even supposed to be here. Number two seed, I mean, I told you, being 11-6 would have been happy. Shit, 12 and
Hmm.
5, I would have been ecstatic. They would have been 14-3, right? Or as I
Right.
said last week. So I was like, well, and then how are the Bills going to prepare for the game? So and then I was not happy with that. I was not happy with that New England game. I was like, oh
Right.
Jesus, here's
Right.
Buffalo all again. And then their home game, I was like, oh Lord, they're about to lose the game. But they won, so they showed me they could win.
Yeah.
So one thing I was telling, we have a group chat. One thing I said was the best thing for Buffalo was playing the Denver Broncos because
Yeah.
I think Denver was top three defense, right? They
Right.
played a 3-4 defense. So that means that
Mhm.
Buffalo played 3-4 2 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
right? 3-4 defense.
Yeah.
They got to me, they have by far the best outside pair of outside rushers with oh my God, Benito and Cooper, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
but both Pro Bowlers. I mean,
Yeah.
Zach Allen, a Pro Bowler, and they
Yeah.
have the most sacks in the NFL. So they
They
played
got
against
tons of
aggressive.
pressure, right?
Oh, a ton of pressure. And then they have the best cornerback in the NFL. And Patrick Sane, by the way, got roasted last week. Gave up his first touchdown pass, by the way. Just to let everyone know, his first touchdown pass of the year versus Curtis Samuel. That's hilarious. But
Hmm.
because Curtis Samuel has done shit all year.
Right.
So I was like, oh, let me see what Buffalo showed me. Then they at first was 10-7, but again they showed me that they got out of a hole, and I'm like, Jesus, Josh Allen out here not forcing balls, and then they won, right? So then James Cook, of course.
Yeah.
So doing all the different analysis and paralysis and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
I watched the game. You watched the game. We'll talk about it. I
Yeah.
watched the game too. People tend to forget that Taron Johnson, Matt Milano, and Terrell Bernard and Taylor Rapp was out the second quarter.
Yeah.
So those three didn't play. Taylor Rapp got out the second quarter, and Khalil Shakir got hurt in the first quarter, and you could see that he was limping. They didn't have Amari Cooper on the team, and they still were getting gelled to the Joe Brady system,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And so on the Ravens side, the only person they're missing is who? Michael Pierce. That's literally the only person. And then they moved Kyle Hamilton
Down
to the
the
safety
safety
position,
from
and they
there.
got rid of their $70 million safety and Marcus Williams, right? So if I'm looking at it 4 weeks ago, and we watched the Texan game too, right? In that two games, Buffalo looked terrible. So now looking through it all, right? You're going against the key to me is going to be the Bills. Everyone's talking about it's the Bills defense. It's the
Oh
key
yeah.
out of the.
Of
But
course.
we want to make it simple. Everyone's like, whoa,
Yeah.
they got to score points. No, 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 no. To me, the key is their defense.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yep.
the reason why the key is their defense is because their defense, Stephen A says it 4 times already, has given up 27 points per game in a divisional games under Sean McDermott's
Yes.
umbrella, right? This is
Yep.
supposed to be the defensive guru that is supposed and it's amazing during the season, top 10 defense except for this year, and then
Hmm.
they shit the bed in the playoffs. All right,
Yeah. Yeah.
so their defense, and
Yep.
the reason for that is because one thing that Sean McDermott doesn't do is, and well, it's Bobby Badger's defense now. He does not like to get out of formation. He
Yes.
will get thrashed by the defense and still be thrashed by the running defense and still be a nickel. But hey,
Yeah.
guess what? The Bills have played 4-3 defense. What 30? I think 37 snaps last 4 games. They've been practicing it. They've been practicing against New England. They've been practicing against the Jets. They've been practicing putting Dorian Williams in as an extra linebacker to play against the run defense, right? So they've been practicing it. So I'm assuming that they're going to play it. So their defense is key. The second part, all Bills fans think that Christian Benford got disrespected. Didn't get the Pro Bowl, let alone the All Pro. Hey, Zay Flowers is hurt. So that means
Yeah.
Christian Benford is going to go one-on-one with Rashard Bateman, which means that the Bills should be playing man-to-man, blitzing. They're terrible
Hmm.
blitzing, but doing some
I
type
know.
of
Right.
simulated blitzes or doing something. They got to leave Rasul Douglas and Benford on the
Yep.
outside
Yep.
one-on-one. You got to win that one-on-one and let these guys, let the rest of the guys eat and play defense, right? So that's to me.
Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
the key of the defense is a guy called Ed Oliver.
I
You've been getting paid way too much money, okay? And you're going way too much money, getting paid way too much money. You've been upset at the media. You've been if I don't know if Bills fans know this, but I don't know if you guys been watching it. He's been really in his feelings because the media's been calling him out that
know.
didn't
Yeah.
show up. By the way, he played his best game last week. Did you see him throw an
Yeah.
all pro guard? He
Yeah.
threw the all pro guard, Quentin Martinez,
Mm.
to the ground, right? So that's the Ed Oliver we got to see. And
Yeah.
Tyler Lindenbaum is not that big of a set. He's athletic, but he's not big. So if Ed can do well, that's going to be key. Now I'm gonna let you go on, but to me, that's the key of the game. The offense is going to score their points, and the Ravens defense are going to do their stops. I see that happening. But if the Bills defense don't show up, it don't matter because Josh Allen might not be on the field to score
Right.
points.
Yep.
So
So that's a hey, I don't have too much more to say of that, but I guess I will piggyback on those because that was gonna be my point. To me, what was key, we didn't really talk too much about the game because I figured we were gonna last week's game, but I figured we'd talk about it this week. The key to me last week and what the Bills started to do that they are going to have to do this week is possess the ball.
good.
They killed them in Denver in time of
Oh yeah.
possession last week. And all that does is it's weird. You think doing that, you do that when you're playing against a team that's better than you, that's the way to do it. But it also makes in last week's situation, because teams that's worse than you have to do risky plays because they know they don't got that much shot. So this week though, they're playing a team that might be better than them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? In terms of
No,
the talent,
they are
and they
better.
say talent, said talent wise, yes, talent wise, they're better. So last week, I think hopefully prepare them to how they need to play. The Bills need to score. They need to be efficient scoring, but they need to take as much time with the ball as possible. If anyone goes back and watches week 35-10, the Bills had the least amount of yards they've had it all year. You know why? They didn't have the ball.
Right.
They they just didn't have the ball. I mean, they had a couple plays here and there. You know, Josh Allen made that amazing like 52-yard pass to Shakir, which is still one of the best plays I think he made all season. But um the Ravens just had the ball. Run, run, run. play action, throw little quick passes. I mean, it was just methodical, work. And so then once they got to that 21-3 lead, basically the Bills had to not run the ball and they came
Yeah.
out of it. So time of possession, efficiency is whoever wins time possession to me is going to win the game. I think the Bills are going to score. I think they're not going to have too much problem scoring, but
Yeah, I agree. That's what it is.
they have to be mindful of it. To your point, defense key. I love that you told me about the 4-3 thing. I did not know
Mhm.
that. It makes sense. I was even thinking, and I know they won't do it because it's the Bills. I'm even thinking they need to at some parts have five D linemen up
Yep.
front and basically stop the front and say, you know what, Lamar, we got five D linemen, we got two whatever linebackers. You're gonna have to just beat us. Contain the edges,
Right.
right? Because make sure he doesn't get outside, rally tackle,
Yeah.
um, and do that. And I'm like, look, Lamar, if you throw for 380 yards against us with, Rashad Bateman, Likely, and Andrews.
And Nelson Aguilar as your number two.
Yeah,
I mean,
Nathan, right, right. Nelson Aguilar
I
is your
mean,
two. Hey,
yeah,
hey, good luck in Kansas City.
yeah,
But that is what you were saying. To your point, the key here is will McDermott adjust? We all see it. We know what they need to do. I've seen teams play the Ravens. Shoot, you can watch Cleveland play the Ravens. They give you a blueprint. They play man to man and they basically play eight up front. They're like, go ahead.
right.
They beat them once. They lost this year because their offense is terrible, but they actually were in the game for most of that game. That is how you play this Ravens team. It is
Yep,
actually, you got film on it. Will you do it?
yep,
Will you not be stubborn? Will you not be Tom Thibodeau of the football thing and adjust the way you play? No, say, well, we're going to play the way we play, and that's it. No, play the way you need to play to win. And to
yeah,
me, weirdly enough, Thomas, and before you get into more analysis, and I'll let you go, I actually think the Bills are going to do that.
What, win the game?
I have a weird feeling, and I said it in the little Bills chat we had. I was thinking it, I was like, I actually think I've seen things with the Bills this year that I've not seen. I have seen them adjust the way that they play. I have seen them not conform back to like bad habits. I have seen them change their game plan depending on the situation. Think about it. Rams game, they threw the ball way more than they normally throw the ball. Lions game, they started running again and then let Josh. They knew the situation, so then they decided to change. This Broncos game, it wasn't a bunch of throwing the ball, it was running the ball and setting the line of scrimmage. That is different from Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah,
And so the fact that I'm seeing them do that makes me feel, and maybe I'm just being stupid, I actually think that they are going to adjust. And I think they're going to make the necessary adjustments because they got humbled. If it would have been a close game, he would have been stubborn enough to say, you know what? We just need to play harder. But when you get manhandled like that, you can't do the
yeah,
same thing you did last time. You cannot. These like
yeah,
literally can't. So I actually think that I think the Bills are gonna win.
yeah. So, I
And
mean,
I thought the Bills weren't gonna win for a while, but then when I saw they signed Anthony Brown to the
oh yeah,
practice squad, sounds stupid. And probably people watching this probably know who Anthony Brown is. So he's a former backup for the Ravens. So he used to be on the Ravens team, athletic quarterback. He's not Lamar Jackson, but you know what that means. You know what they're doing. It's
scouting report.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
scouting program, but it's like a lab. So if
yeah,
I put you in a lab, I'm gonna throw a whole bunch of different stuff out at the lab and see what sticks. So they're gonna try to do their base coverage. They're gonna try to do, you know, 4-3. They're gonna try to do a 5-2, see what would stick with this type of personnel based on what they see. And the fact that they even thought about them, because they didn't do that before. You never saw the Bills actually try to get somebody in the scouting team
yeah,
to prepare for the team they're playing. They would never do that because McDermott's like, I don't need to do that. That's how stubborn he was.
right,
I'll use Mitch Trubisky to be him. I don't care, right? Which is dumb.
right,
The fact that that happened to me is like a sign that I think they're going to do a little different. I think they're going to win, and I think it's going to be a
good.
34-33 game, 35-34. There's going to be high scoring,
Always gonna be what the
close.
NFL wants. Yeah,
It's going to be the best game that we've seen in a while,
yeah,
and I think the Bills are going to win
right.
by that margin.
Well, yeah. I mean, one thing about it, I forgot to mention about defense is that so the Bills were ranked 27th or 26th in third down defense. Remember,
Yeah.
you see me in the chat. So,
Yeah.
oh, here we go, third and long, on third
Yeah.
and long. I mean, God.
Yeah.
So last week Denver. By the way, Denver is actually a good offense on third down.
Yeah.
I forgot where they're ranked in the middle. In the middle, they're not terrible.
Yeah.
They were 2-8, right? And a couple of them, two of the plays I actually know. Corin Sun got it because Cam Lewis got in because Taron Johnson got hurt. But anyways, they're 2 for 8, and so you're like, wow. And so I didn't know this. I was watching the cover one, by the way. Buffalo guys, great guys. So
Mm.
the Bills, you said five. I don't know they'll do five because McDermott. It's you're putting a scheme in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But last week they did something that we haven't seen. They did a 3-2-6. So they put three D linemen, two linebackers, and six DBs. And what they did was they brought guys in, simulated pressures, almost like remember anemic thing that Bill Belichick used
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
like okay, you got six guys in here, but you don't know who's coming in,
Who's
and
covering and who's
you,
rushing? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So you saw the linebacker shoot the gap, and then Rousseau and AJ Epicenta go out there. Then you saw the next play, Rousseau got so it confused Bo Nix. He didn't even know what the hell was going on. Then he used Milano as a spy. You saw Milano chase down Bo Nix,
Mm.
and Milano's actually looking like the old Milano. So that's the first time we saw it. And so
Hmm.
do the Ravens overthink like God? That's like did the Bills do that on purpose to say here's something on tape that you got to prepare for, and then they're
Hmm.
going to start going off that. Another thing I forgot to
Hmm.
mention was I told my boy Chris, well, I have a little bit more confident. Do I think they're going to win? I'm still on the fence, right? I still
Hmm.
haven't decided. But another thing is that the last 2 years, Bills have been playing to get in the playoff spot. They
Yeah.
clinched the division on week 13.
Right.
So and this is where this is why how Josh Allen this is why Josh Allen lost MVP race,
Hmm.
right? He lost MVP race because that
He was
four
too good.
games he played 4 games he played, didn't come in the end. And then Lamar played cupcakes team at the end, and they gave. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Steelers twice. I mean, the Browns, the Texans were trash. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to like
Right.
whatever. So he did well, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So
Giants.
Giants. So the Ravens, the Ravens defense didn't really play any. You know, the best quarterback they played all year is C.J. Stroud. On like the last since Philly, they lost to Philly. The
Right.
best quarterback they played is Russ or C.J. Come on now. But
Yeah.
anyways, but they were saying that the Bills. That's what happened in the Patriots game. You saw they even Josh Allen said he's like I don't want to give too much. And so last week you saw a mesh. The offense showed stuff that we didn't see. That's
Yeah.
why Curtis Samuel scored. They
Yeah.
showed a mesh, and then Matt Collins came and motioned back. First time I ever seen that play. And
Yeah.
same thing with Sam. That's why Patrick Surtain was fooled because they're like, oh shit, we never seen this play.
Right.
Samuel goes over the over route, and then it was set, touchdown.
Hmm.
So this is the stuff you're going to see Brady. This is where Brady's going to audition for a head
Hmm.
coaching job. So I'm not worried about the offense.
Right. Yeah.
I'm more worried about the defense.
Yeah.
Are you like McDermott? You're gonna have to make adjustments. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have to. And guess what? They did it last week. The first touchdown, they made adjustment when Troy Franklin. They
Yeah.
started adjusting, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and then the last part I'll put in, um, Lamar I think his EPA is 1.8 turnover. Like the guy never turns it over.
Right.
So this game's gonna to me, it's gonna come down to somebody turns over the ball. Like a turnover is gonna determine the game.
Mm.
That's how I feel it's
Mm.
gonna be, whether it's a punt return and everything.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. And then the last part, I'll say, that's the last part, but I get excited about this. That how dumb is a special teams coach for the
Oh
Ravens?
my
Talk about,
gosh.
oh, I think the field is it gets warm. Like he thought that the field gets warmer. Let me give you guys Buffalo Bills Stadium is the only cold weather stadium in the NFL that does not warm their turf.
Nope.
So it's going to be hot. And we're from Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
I played on turf
It's
before when it was
death.
freezing cold,
It's
even
death.
though it was soccer. I didn't play football,
It's still
but
death.
the cleats. You feel like you're on cement. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this was AstroTurf back in the day, but I can't imagine it got better. Like it is that. So,
Mm.
this is where sometimes like a Derrick Henry, like, are you going to be, because you're such a big small guys are able to move on that turf, but Derrick Henry, are you going to, if you can make him stop, that's how you stop Derrick Henry. You
Mm.
can't get him going. So are you going to use the cold weather? And then Bill Mafia better be out there and be loud. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be an exciting game.
Have a
Throw a
good time
snowball
at
at
the
somebody.
yeah, have a good time. Ron's gonna be out there. I'm like, have a
Oh, he's
good
going to
time.
game?
Yeah, yep, sure is, man. Shout out to
Yeah.
you, man. Hey, enjoy the cold.
Who is he going with? I didn't know they was going to the game.
Yeah, I think he's going with Khalil.
Khalil. He's
Yeah.
gonna be free. It's gonna be freezing.
I think
Shit's
they
gonna
got like
be,
I think they got like an indoor thing too. There's like an
oh,
indoor
sweet.
park
Oh,
suite. So
yeah.
like yeah, he's like, I'm a tailgate, but I'm gonna watch to get the game indoor, which is smart. But I thought about it. I was like, ooh, do I wanna? I was like, nah, I'm good because actually I'm off on Monday. But I was like, nah, I'm not gonna make that drive. But anyway,
No,
I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm really super excited. to watch it, and I think it's gonna. I do think you're right. I actually think it's gonna be a clean game. I actually think it's gonna be a clean game. But if there is a turnover, kind of like you think of games like that, like the Tech. I'm not saying it's gonna be Texans Chargers, but a turnover there turned the game around. Like the Chargers looked like the better team, and then there was a turnover, and then they never recovered.
Right.
So I think this game will be the same. Like these teams are gonna go back and forth. I think it's gonna be hard for both teams to stop them. And then if somebody gets a turnover, that can shift the way that goes. But I think
Yeah.
the original line, oh yeah, the Ravens are favored by one, but the original line was the Bills were favored by one.
One and a
I
half.
actually, yeah, I actually think that's what it is. I think it's again, I think it's like 1 point win for the Bills, like last minute touchdown, field
It might,
goal,
I hope it
something like
doesn't
that.
come. I hope it
I hope
doesn't
it doesn't
come
come
up
to field goal.
Tyler
We don't want no
Bad.
pass. Oh gosh, Tyler Bad. We don't want that. But it's all right, man. We'll get it going. I'm excited. I'm excited. I haven't been excited for a game like this in a while. I mean, even when my Cowboys were in this round, I knew it was coming. So, um,
Yeah.
so it's painful. All right. Well, so next thing we're going to talk about is these really quick because we're like 49 minutes in, is the head coach rumors. So, speaking of my Cowboys, there are rumors that Neon Dion might
Prime
come out.
time.
Yeah, Miss Prime Time will come out here and be a head coach for the Cowboys. I've been getting texts all the time. Yo, man, how you feel about that, man? How do you feel? I'm like, I feel great. I would love that to happen. You know why? We're not relevant anyways. It don't matter.
Yeah.
At least at least let my team be entertaining. Like I would be proud that I'm a Cowboys fan. Right now I'm not proud that I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm always like dump my head when I'm a Cowboys fan. Not because of even their record. I just don't like the way they I hate how they play. I hate their demeanor. I don't like the organization, the way they're run. Like it sucks. I've been a Cowboys fan my whole life, and it's annoying. And I hate to have to
Right.
defend that. If I had Dion, at least we'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would get to see Prime in his interviews. He'd get them hype. We have all the stars out there. I mean, we're already the Cowboys, so you imagine that. I would love it. Now the question is, do you think I think it's gonna happen? No, it's not gonna happen. You know why it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen? Jerry Jones does not want to share the spotlight. He's gonna go hire Kellen Moore because Kellen Moore, he knows Kellen. He's like, I gave you your shot, Kellen. You come back here and be the boy wonder, and we'll set you up right. You just trust me and do whatever I say, because that's what he wants.
Right.
Should he do that? No. But I can see Kellen Moore being the person, and I don't hate Kellen Moore. There's nothing against him. I'm sick of those. I'm sick of Jason Garrett, who I didn't think was terrible, but could never get this. We need discipline. I need somebody to call you out and say that you're a professional football player. Stop making stupid plays. That's all
Right.
we
Right.
need. That's it. And no one could do that. None of our coaches in the last 12 years have been able to do that. So, that's how I feel about them. You got any comments on it?
I mean, it's until Jerry's gone. Who's
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I mean, Dion. I don't know if Dion will be successful. I mean, he did. He did well in Colorado. I give him that.
And
But
Jackson
that's
State.
yeah, yeah. But that's different. That's recruiting. NFL's a little. I mean, you saw Nick Saban, right? The NFL's a little different. But well,
Mm,
maybe you do well because you got to be a motivator, leader of men.
yes.
But and
That's half the battle, really, with
yeah,
these.
they
I mean, it's
but
NFL. Think about it. It's not even the Jaguars.
yeah,
They
you
lose
got
games
corner.
by 3 points.
Right. Yeah. And he also, as long as he puts the right team around him, which he's been
Yes.
doing,
Yes.
he'll be fine. But just like the Bills, as a Bills fan, we have Ralph Wilson, RIP. Like when you're gonna need sometimes you
Yeah.
need a good owner, just
Yeah.
bring the right people in. Jerry, he had this experiment with Bill Parcells, and it didn't work too well. He likes
It did
yes
when it
men.
worked well, but then
I'm
he
talking about
messed it up.
him.
Right.
I'm talking
Yes.
about Frank. I'm talking about
Yes.
not the
I
Cowboys
hate
were
him.
relevant. I'm talking
Yes.
about him. I'm talking
Yes.
about it
Yes.
didn't work
Jerry. Yes. I know.
because the attention wasn't on him. What owner? He's the only owner in sports, and not even in football, sports that has a press conference after a game. The person is not even on the sideline, bro. Come on, you know. So, like
I
that's just
know. It's
so.
sad. It's so
I mean,
sad.
So if I'm Dion, I'm like, yeah, I'll take the job, but I need you not to do press conferences, and they
Hmm.
gotta let me pick my own personnel changes.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, really, that's the only thing. I haven't really heard any. I mean, Vrabel, I think Vrabel, we were talking about it before, but he hadn't gotten signed. So he's now the Patriots head coach. Remember, we were talking about where I thought would be a good job. I think it's a great hire. I like Vrabel. I think he's the best coach in this cycle. I actually think that the Patriots are going to do well quick. I mean, not like the number one team in the league, but I think they will be relevant soon.
Mhm.
They'll be like the Cardinals this year. Like, dang man, I gotta play these guys. They're actually good enough to compete, but they may not end up not making the playoffs. That's kind of how I feel. Good hire
Okay.
for them. Um, last, anything else you wanted to say about the head
No,
coaches?
no,
Because
just
not really. Not at that
no,
point. Not at this
no,
point.
and nothing exciting yet.
Yeah. And last but not least, I wish I had my music, talk about the NBA and how it's fantastic. No. Yeah, the NBA, it's January, so we're past the halfway point. So I think people should probably I think we're at either at the halfway point or just past. It's like right there. I think people should probably get to know a little bit about the NBA. So, couple quick things. Two number one teams in each division. Cleveland, I mean, in each conference, Cleveland is number one in the East by like 6 games or something, or five
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah, they're doing
Six.
well.
They've lost 5 games or 6 games now all year. And then in the West, it's Oklahoma City. And I think they both got the same record because they played each other the last twice in the last week, which had been, well, the first game was a great game. I mean, it was just pure entertainment, high level basketball in Cleveland, where Cleveland won. And then last night, I think it was last night, 2 nights ago, I can't remember. Um, Cleveland played Oklahoma City in Oklahoma City, and they got destroyed. I mean, it was bad. It was one point, it was 71 to 111. And so I am just saying, and I think I might have said it last week. If I didn't, I'm repeating it. Oklahoma City is the best team in basketball. Yeah, I watched NBA t today and like all different NBA shows, and people are like, "Yeah, they're good," but Mike Wilbon and Ty McGrath are the people that have been saying this since day one. Unfortunately, Oklahoma City is the best team in basketball. I mean, I say unfortunately because I'm a hater. I hate that young teams are good, but there's a couple of really good teams that to keep an eye out for. One is the Memphis because Ja is back, and they're third in the West. The
Hmm.
other is my man over here's team, the Houston Rockets.
Yep.
Ime Udoka, Coach of the Year candidate, got those boys going from, hey, I want to hit the club to wow, I'm one of the best defensive teams in the league. They get at it. And actually, they're one of the few teams. I mean, Oklahoma City's only lost 6 times. Houston has beat them, I think they beat them twice or just once.
Once.
Yeah, and it was in the play. It was to get into the play-in. Um, I know it was after that. So Houston did beat them one time. Um, but yeah, so um it's pretty interesting there. And then in the East, I mean, East is just loaded to me. My
Yeah.
Knicks are third, Boston's second, but they're in like seven and
Det
seven. Uh,
Detroit have been in the playoff hunt.
I know, man. Detroit, Cade Cunningham. And that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah,
Next week, maybe I would love to talk about the All-Star voting because I think this is going to
that's
be really tight. But yeah,
oh yeah,
Detroit's tough, man. I mean, they beat us twice. They beat the Knicks. The Knicks are the third best record, the fifth best record in the NBA. We've lost 2 games to the Pistons at home.
yeah.
Two.
I mean, yeah. It also, yeah, getting Hardaway trade was I think helped them out.
Yep.
Getting Hardaway, Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yep.
Because they're kind of playing a small. They put Tobias at the four because Isaiah Stewart he can't score. I like him. He's from Rochester, but
Mm.
he's not a great offensive player. He's more. They already have who's the center? Dunn,
Duran.
Durden. They already
Mm.
have Durden. They can't. You can't have two of them down there.
Yeah.
So
And
so.
you're right. I think those two big
Mhm.
moves that I'm happy that I'm talking about Detroit, by the way, because that means they need love basketball wise. They made Malik Beasley, who I've always been a fan of.
Oh yeah,
Malik
shooter.
Beasley, shooter, see it's 6 threes, 7 threes against us, something like that in one game. And like you said, Hardaway. And Sleeper. Everyone underrates this guy like he's a bum, but all his teams do is make the playoffs, and he might be getting a lot of money, but still plays well. Tobias Harris.
Yeah, it's basically yeah.
I
He's not.
mean,
It's down
he,
numbers, but yeah, I agree.
but he's his impact because he doesn't have to get the ball and have to shoot all the time. He will
No,
defend one of the best. He defends like the toughest player. He does that.
he's
Him,
yeah, he's
him,
actually a good
and what's the
defender.
name? The other Thompson.
Thompson, Azure Thompson.
Azure. Yes, not I
Yeah,
know Amen's on your team or Amen. Yeah, so Azure. So like, yeah, they're tough, and Cade is definitely an all-star. Um, and sad what happened to Ivy because he's out for the year.
yeah. Ivy was looking good. Yeah,
He was. But yeah, man, so it's a quick update, NBA. I mean, the things, the teams everyone talks about all the time, Golden State, Phoenix, Lakers. Trash, trash, trash. Okay. Just
yeah.
they're just in the bottom part of you know, the league. They'll win some games because they have great old players, but they're not really gonna win. Like those teams, none of those teams are gonna win unless they make some kind of significant trade, you
And
know?
their defense is the Suns'
Yeah.
defense is horrible.
It's horrible, man. It's just
I was watching the other day against the Hawks. I mean, wow.
it's
They don't
bad.
like they just yeah, they don't know how to play defense.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I would say, I mean, Cleveland's good, but aren't you, as a Knicks fan, every time you see Donovan Mitchell, you're probably like, why didn't we trade for him? But I mean, at the end of the day,
Nah,
you guys
not
are,
now anymore. And I love Donovan
I
Mitchell.
mean,
He's one of my favorite players. If I have a list of five
so
favorite players,
you wouldn't have
for
him
who?
and Bruns in the back. I'm talking about back then, like it was 2 years ago when they did that trade. I mean, him and Brunson in the back. I think it was like Randall and like three first round, whatever it was.
Oh, I mean,
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, but honestly,
I mean, I actually like.
no. Here's why. Yes, if I had talent, if I the talent, yes. But with Tom Thibodeau, no.
Well, I got
Like
you. What?
I like the team. I like the starters that we have now. I still think, we have to
Okay,
figure out Josh Hart. Not because I like Josh Hart. And every time I talk about Josh Hart, everyone gets mad at me like I don't like him. I actually think I like him that much that he does not need to be a starter because
right,
we have four guys that are not like that are nice, and then Josh Hart. And so he does glue stuff, but he also negatively impacts offense. And he's not because he's not aggressive because he's like,
right,
I'm the fifth option.
right.
Versus if he came off the bench, he wouldn't be the fifth option. We'd be like, yo, Josh Hart, you're like the second option or first option. Like go out there, initiate offense, be aggressive, go get to the glass. And but we don't do
Right.
that. We also have Tom Thibodeau as our coach. So,
Well, I mean, your team. I mean, talent wise, you can. I mean, they
Oh, yeah.
got Briggs and my favorite player, Cat, is
Yeah.
talents. One of the most talented players.
Top four
Both.
starting lineups in the NBA.
Yeah,
Top three,
yeah,
actually.
yeah. So I mean, if Cat can follow through and not shoot 7 3-pointers in a playoff game, actually play his game, they would be good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's going to be interesting. The West is going to be interesting. As a Rocket fan,
Hmm.
gotta give a shout out. I wanted Caleb Cunningham. I remember that draft. I mean, I don't
Hmm.
mind Jalen Green because you see that one play, he's so
Oh,
explosive. Oh my
oof.
God. So I think he's just going to get better and better as time gets better,
Yeah.
as time goes by. So the Rockets are looking good. They got a bench. The issue is I just want to talk about my Rockets real quick. The problem is they have too many players. That's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Like Easton needs to get some time. Cam Whitmore and
Yeah.
Amon Thompson. It's the only reason why it's working out a little bit better now is because Jabari Smith is hurt, right? So
Yeah.
Jabari Smith coming back. I mean, and their third pick is not even playing.
Yeah.
Reed Shepard
Yeah.
is in the G League. He's in the G League.
Wow. I
So,
forgot about Reed.
so Reed, yeah, that's what, and he had like 40 points on one game.
Hmm.
He had 8 threes or whatever it was. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm saying. I was saying in the chat, a third pick in the draft. I got to look this up. It was in the G League. I don't know, like the last 10 years, never seen a third. They usually start or play significant minutes. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like the third
Hmm.
pick,
Hmm.
he's on the. So if I'm the Rockets, I don't want Jimmy Butler. I mean, my pipe dream is De'Aaron Fox, but that
Right.
will never happen. But they got to put these together because you
Yes.
sign Jalen Green, you sign Shingo to
Hmm.
long-term contracts.
Hmm.
Jamari's going to want to get you got to put some type of package for somebody. I don't know who's out there. De'Aaron's the one I would want. I don't know who else out there, but they got to
Hmm.
put something together and get these. They got to ship these guys.
LaMelo Ball.
Oh, I mean, they would have to give up. They would have to give up Jalen Green. They
No,
would have to give
no,
up.
they think Jabari Smith and
Who? Reed
Two,
Shepard?
three first, yeah, Reed Shepard and a couple first rounders. I mean, if you're Charlotte, like, what? Why not? Like, you're gonna have to sign
Oh, I
LaMelo
mean,
to a like a max deal, and you can't win. I mean, you're losing to the Wizards. Like, I don't.
I
That's
mean,
the Wizards got 5 wins, and one of them is a Charlotte. It's not good.
I mean, if they can make it work, Lamelo would be. That would be.
A
Forget. I love
miracle,
the Aaron
right?
Fox. I read that because he would fit well with with the
Timeline, yeah,
system, yeah,
yeah.
and the system. You know
Well,
what
he
I'm
doesn't
saying?
play
So
defense though. LaMelo's like the
yeah,
worst.
but
He's like literally the worst. I think they should have stat. That's why I was saying we're talking about. I think he's literally the worst defender
is it
at his
because he's not?
position in the NBA.
Well,
The
maybe.
worst.
Well, we Jalen Green was not a good defender. Now he's
That's
decent.
true. That is
I
very,
mean,
very true. Very, 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 very true
my
point.
boy didn't know what defense was. So,
And I
but,
mean, I know we were talking a little, but I do want to ask you this question. Who else do you think they need? Do you think they need like a center? Do you think they need like not a center to replace Sengun, but
I mean,
like a Capella or
now Cat would have
Mitch?
been the Cat was the one I wanted. I mean,
Well, of
I thought
course. I
Cat
mean,
Cat would have been Capella like Mitch, but that's who that would have been perfect.
okay.
I don't necessarily need a center because they got Steven Adams. He actually,
Oh, that's right. They do have
yeah.
Steven Adams.
So Steven
Yeah.
Adams, he plays defense. Yesterday, he
Yeah.
saw him on the board. The
Yeah.
problem is they have these too many tweeners.
Right.
Easton, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith. Amon Thompson plays all four or five
Tate.
positions.
Tate.
Yeah, he don't play.
I
He's
saw
at
him.
the end.
He played like 3 days ago, which I was shocked. I
Yeah,
hadn't seen him play
he's
at
at
all.
the end of
Right.
the bench.
Yeah.
He's way, but yes, when they're blowing him out, so they put something. They got to put something together and then trade. But I mean, Lamelo would be awesome because in that trade, Fred, like Dylan Brooks, they're gonna have to trade one of those contracts because they're not gonna be able to.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Dylan Brooks and Fred's contract.
Yeah.
They can't be keep. If they trade for a superstar, they're gonna, but they have the most assets now. Not to go over, but one team we talked about years ago that should have done it was Atlanta
Atlanta.
Hawks.
Atlanta. Yep.
When they had
Yep.
all those assets and young players,
Hmm.
what's his name? DeAndre, oh my God, I
Hunter.
forgot. Hunter.
Yeah.
He's still playing, but
Oh,
he's not
he's good. He's been
yeah,
why
yeah.
they've been good. But you're
No,
talking
I'm
about
talking about
what's
the
the name?
other guy that is it
The
Cam
Yeah,
Reddish?
Cam Reddish. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Cam
Cam, yeah.
Reddish. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah,
Cam
they had
Reddish.
Cam Reddish. They had a couple other young guys. They should have took all that and traded. I remember you talked about it, like they should have
Hmm.
traded a package.
Yeah.
But
John
then,
Collins.
yeah, oh yeah, John Collins. Oh yeah, they did. I forgot they had John. Yeah, John Collins,
Yeah.
and then, but the dumbest move they ever made was they traded Luca. But that's besides the point. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Trey, but come on, man.
No, no, that's rough.
I know. I was talking to a Suns fan. Not that I was talking to my Asmer's cousin, who's a huge Sun fan, and
Mm.
I didn't know this, but so he said the Suns reason why the Suns are not better than they should have been because they should have been a dynasty is DeAndre Aikens
Yeah. Oh
draft.
yeah.
I said, well, what do you mean? I was like, DeAndre Aikens. I hear Luca. He's talking about, but he's like,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I knew Luca was good, but I didn't think Luca was going to be the number one pick. Whatever, he should have been number two over Bagley, but
Yeah.
I thought DeAndre Aikens because he's a big man, athletic. He has somewhat whatever it was. But what I found out was, and you might have known this, but the coach on the Suns assistant coach used to be Luca's coach. And he
Mm.
told them about Luca, like, yeah, and they still didn't draft him. But DeAndre Aikens from Bahamas, he played in Phoenix, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
right.
in
Yeah, he's an
Arizona.
Arizona guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So he told me that he said that's like he's still pissed to this day about that.
Well,
Because he's like,
the thing is, I mean, they blew up their team when really they shouldn't have blown up their team. You went to the finals, and then the next year you lost in the conference final, or the not conference finals, the semis in
semi-final,
game
yeah.
seven, and then you blow up the entire team. I'm like, you don't need to blow up your team then. You just like, why are you
Well,
making
yeah,
these random drastic trades to get an old Kevin Durant? Like that was extreme because I like Mikal Bridges. He's all bottom all-star level. I mean, of course he has Tibbs as his coach, so that's why he's not reaching his potential with us. But you see spurts,
yeah,
of it. So yeah, I don't know. Phoenix and the sad thing is they are one of the better franchise. I tell anyone because I lived in Arizona and I used to go to a lot of Suns games. One of the best fan bases in all of sports is the Suns fans. Better than any other Arizona teams, by the way.
yeah.
The Cardinals, Diamondbacks sometimes, it depends. The Coyotes, forget it. Suns fans, they show up all the time. They're rowdy, they're knowledgeable, so they deserve a winner. But
Right.
oh well, 1970 something, the
Yeah.
last time they won a championship. So, and I got my own problems as Knicks fan, so I don't have to worry
Right.
about about Suns.
And me too as a Rockets fan. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers equals James Carden. The same. But anyway, that's a different episode.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, man. Well, that will conclude it. We'll have wrap up. Is there anything you want to talk
Nah,
about this sports week?
I mean, I don't know. That game's going to give me some high blood
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think regardless what happens, like I said, I think the Bills had a good year. I think the Ravens have had a good year. Somebody's got to lose. There's only going to be one champ anyway, so it just depends. It doesn't matter what round it is. There's only
Yeah,
one team left. So
just beat
you
the Chiefs. I don't care.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like I said, if the Bills lose, I'll root for the Ravens.
Too.
You
Me
know,
too.
like
Me too.
um,
I don't dislike the Ravens at all.
yeah, me either. I like Lamar. I
Um
mean,
yeah.
so
But not this week. So,
right.
we get the Bills this win. All right, everybody. Well, thanks, brother. And we are glad we're back doing this. And we will be talking to you guys next week. Well, yes, next week I'll make sure I figure out a place to go to have that because I'm going to be going out of town. So,
All right,
all right. Well, talk to you guys in the next week. Later.
all right. Take care.